I decided to go to law school because I wanted to be a lawyer, and specifically a public interest lawyer.
I came to law school because I wanted to affect change.
I decided to go to law school because I had always been fascinated by the law, and I thought it would be something that I'm good at, and I wanted to have a career and make a decent amount of money.
I took an LSAT course. I didn't do much else to prepare for applying to law school, and I didn't do anything before law school, getting ready for it.
And how long before taking the LSAT did you take the LSAT course?
I think the course was timed to coincide with a particular test, and I think maybe it was, I have no idea how long it was, maybe 6 weeks.
Great.
I did not take an LSAT prep course. I decided I want to go to law school 3 months before the summer exam and just studied on my own. I bought a couple of prep books, and then I talked to as many lawyers as I could as I applied.
Before coming to law school, I worked as a legal assistant for about 1.5 years just to make sure that I wanted to be a lawyer. And aside from that, I took some time off to study for the LSAT for about 3 months. I bought a book. I bought a few books and religiously took practice tests, and I also did take a prep course.
Well, I prepared for the LSAT by mostly focusing on the logic games section. Most people find that the least intuitive. I used a book by a company called PowerScore called the Logic Games Bible to really drill down on those questions. And most importantly, I took a number of practice tests. It's important to get used to taking a test under exam conditions and being able to track your progress over time. Well, in law school, everybody works off of outlines that are prepared for the course. Some people prefer to create the outlines themselves as a study mechanism. I preferred to use outlines that previous students had made to help study for the test and save some time. Most importantly, professors will make previous exams available, so taking practice tests from previous years is the best way to get an idea of what's going to be on your exam.
I did a lot of cramming. I was really afraid and didn't really know what was going on. So I studied in groups and took a lot of practice exams with them, but also I just read through outlines and notes up until the very last minute before the exam.
The first semester of 1L, I studied for exams by taking practice exams with some friends and also reviewing outlines that had been given to me earlier, and that did not go so well. In second semester, I kind of realized that I am better at studying alone, so for the most part, I outlined and reviewed outlines, and I did a lot better that way. I just kind of figured out what worked for me.
So I prayed every night. No, I'm kidding. I outlined for all my classes. I thought that was really important, and I really just went through the outlines and tried to, get it in my brain.
Did you have a study group?
I did have a study group, yeah. I had first semester, yes, I had a study group for almost all of my classes. Not all of them, but almost all of them.
How often would you meet?
So I met more often second semester than first semester, and just sort of the way the courses worked. And we met every couple of days second semester, but sort of more sporadically first semester.
I think that the writing style that we learn is very good at teaching you the fundamentals of legal writing, although it's not, you'll never write as formal of a memo as you do in that course, for example. But I think it's a necessary curriculum to teach you how to be able to do a case illustration, for example, or to be able to cite legal documents or different cases?
I didn't find them to be particularly useful. I didn't feel like I learned that much in my LRW classes, and I felt like as a public defender in the trial setting, research, like quick and dirty research skills, are much more valued than being able to put together a really formal note. So I think I learned much more in my summer experience than I did in my year of LRW classes.
Well, for most big law firms, grades are paramount. However, firms are prohibited from contacting first-year students until December 1st of their first semester. At UT, there's a 1L recruiting program where you can upload your resume and it will become available to big law employers on December 1st. However, that also coincides with the start of finals. So it's important to get that set up before finals start. From the people that I know, those who did jump on board early, were interviewing with firms over winter break even before their first semester grades came out. So the best idea is to get started early if you can, but really most important thing is you've got to do well first semester if you want one of those coveted big law 1L summer jobs. Big firms, they have a very formulaic recruiting process, and one of the three factors they look at is the school you go to. So along with grades, which are paramount, the school you go to is going to hold a lot of sway with big law firms. Other than that, you have to be a good writer. Those are the three things I would say.
Public defense recruiters are really interested in law students who are devoted to the cause. So securing a job largely consists of demonstrating that you've been committed to the cause of indigent defense since the beginning of law school or even before law school by getting as many experiences as you possibly can, specifically your 2 summers. Those are really important. It's similar to the big law process in that your second summer is generally spent where you would like to get an offer, but I don't think it's as stringent as big law.
I think you really need to prove yourself and prove that you're committed to the cause in whatever type of public interest area that you're interested in, and especially with public defense, proving that you can sustain yourself through that work and proving that you're really committed to clients is a big part of the application process. I think so. In your first year classes, there are a lot of guys who talk a lot, and I think for some women, for a lot of women, that can feel pretty alienating, and it can make people doubt themselves more. And I don't know if that's specifically like a gender thing, but in many times it comes across as being like a gender thing. And I think there are ways that classes could be structured and professors could respond to students in a way that doesn't perpetuate that.
I am a pro bono scholar with the MIFOF pro bono program at the school, where I run the Expunction Project, which expunges and seals criminal records for people of the Austin area who seek our services. I am also in the Public Interest Law Association. I'm the social chair, and that's a social networking group for public interest students. And I'm involved in the Women's Law Caucus, which is kind of a lean-in group for women in the sector of law.
I'm the article submissions editor for the Texas Hispanic Journal of Law and Policy, and I'm also a member of the Chicano and Latino Student Organization. And I'm also a member of Assault and Flattery, which is a comedy musical by law students, which is pretty lame, but pretty fun.
I'm involved in the Public Interest Law Association and the Texas Law Review.
What's Law Review?
Law Review is a journal, and
Is it elite?
yeah, it's elite.
Do employers like law? Like what? Yeah, I mean,
People like Law Review. Law Review is like a prestigious accolade, pretty much, and it is a big time commitment, but I've found that it's been a pretty enjoyable experience. Yes, I took 4 years between undergrad and law school, and I definitely think it was beneficial. I was not in any way prepared to go to law school when I finished college, and was actually the furthest thing from my mind. And I think for me, because I want to do public interest law, I wanted to be sure that if I pursued law school, I could be doing it in a way that I could really see an effect and thought my work was useful. And I didn't see that when I first finished school. So working for a few years and working for a legal nonprofit, I was able to really see the effects of what the law can do for people.
I think it definitely helped me. I feel like law schools appreciated the fact that I had done 2 years abroad in Peace Corps and then had worked also in New Orleans leading up to applying. I think schools value that, and I'm glad that they do.
I would say that not going straight through to law school after undergrad was absolutely beneficial to me. I think both law schools in the admissions process as well as law firms see the value in somebody who has spent some time in the real world, working a job or a career before going to law school. I think most importantly, it helps with figuring out how to allocate your own time, which is a skill that in law school is absolutely essential. Most law school classes are based on a final cumulative exam at the end of the year, and it's really up to you to decide how to best spend your time throughout the semester to prepare for it. So I would say spending some time in the real world helped to develop some of those skills that, perhaps undergraduate did not.
I think everyone comes into law school feeling relatively insecure, which is, I think it would have been very reassuring to know that others were coming in with the same attitude and perspective as I was. Another thing I wish I knew was I think I spent a lot of time the first couple months really, really trying to memorize every little thing without realizing that so much of your grades are determined by the final stretch, the final 6 weeks of studying. And so I think I wish I would have known how to pace myself so that I didn't burn out so early.
I wish I knew that you really can take breaks and not stress yourself out all the time because you can't go 100% 24/7. And the way that the classes are structured, it's okay to take some breaks throughout the semester because you've got plenty of time to recover and put yourself in good position before final exams.
I wish I had known that everyone else was just as afraid as I was.
So what I wish I knew before law school was that everyone coming into law school doesn't know anything, and that everybody is in just as much of a confused and dark place as you are and as I was. So it's helpful to remember that when you feel, like everything is foreign and doesn't make any sense, that you're in the same boat with everyone else.